Think about the last time you checked your phone. You probably went in for one thing: a text, the time, maybe a notification, and 40 minutes later, you're coming up for air, staring at a screen, wondering where the afternoon went. It's like a silent thief is living in your pocket, picking your pockets of the only currency that actually matters. And the worst part? You're letting it happen. In fact, most of us are handing over the keys to the vault every single morning before we even get out of bed. Right now, there is a version of you that is absolutely crushing it. That version of you has the body you want, the bank account you dream about, and a level of inner peace that makes them feel untouchable. But here is the cold, hard truth. That person isn't some lucky variant from a different universe. They are just you, minus the distractions. They are what happens when you stop leaking your energy into things that don't love you back. The ancient Stoics had a word for this, but let's keep it real for 2026. You are living like you have a respawn button. You're moving through your day like you've got a cheat code for infinite health and infinite time. You put off the hard conversation, the gym session, or that side project because you tell yourself there's always tomorrow. But tomorrow is a ghost. It doesn't exist. All you've got is right now, and right now is slipping through your fingers like sand. Imagine you walked into a bank and the teller told you that every morning $86,400 is deposited into your account. There's only one catch: you can't carry the balance over. Whatever you don't spend by midnight simply vanishes, gone forever. What would you do? You'd spend every single cent. You wouldn't leave a penny on the table. Well, guess what? You get 86,400 seconds every single day. And most of us are just throwing that cash into the trash can because we're busy. Being busy is the biggest lie of the modern world. We confuse movement with progress. We're like hamsters on a wheel, running at full speed, sweating, panting, feeling exhausted, but we haven't actually moved an inch. We're busy answering emails that don't matter, busy scrolling through the lives of people we don't even like, and busy worrying about what a stranger thinks of our choices. Marcus Aurelius, a guy who literally ran the most powerful empire on earth, used to wake up and remind himself that he could leave life right now. He didn't say that to be depressing. He said it to be free. Because when you realize that your time is a finite, non-renewable resource, your beast meter starts hitting the red zone. You stop caring about the likes. You stop playing it safe. You start realizing that the comfort you're chasing is actually a coffin you're building for your potential. We live in a world designed to keep you distracted. Your attention is the most valuable commodity on the planet. Trillion-dollar companies are hiring the smartest people in the world specifically to figure out how to keep your eyes glued to a screen so you don't look at your own life. They want you to stay in the waiting room. You know the feeling. You're waiting for the right time to start. You're waiting until you have more money, more experience, or more vibes. But let me give you a reality check that might sting a bit. The perfect time is a fairy tale. It's a myth we tell ourselves so we don't have to face the fear of failing. While you're sitting there waiting for all the lights to turn green before you start driving, the guy who decided to drive while the lights were still red is already 10 miles ahead of you. Stoicism isn't about sitting on a mountain and thinking deep thoughts. It's about high-stakes surgery on your own habits. It's about looking at your life and asking, if I kept living exactly like I did today for the next 10 years, where would I end up? If that thought scares you, good. Use that fear. Let it be the fuel that finally pushes you out of the harbor and into the open sea. Because the harbor is safe, But that's not what ships are built for. You've been playing small because you're afraid of the friction. You're afraid that if you actually try, you might find out you aren't as good as you thought. So you stay in the potential phase. But potential is just a fancy word for stuff you haven't done yet. It means nothing if it stays locked in your head. Let's talk about the default mode. Most people wake up, reach for their phone, and within 30 seconds, they've surrendered their piece to a headline, a text, or a post from someone they haven't seen since high school. You're letting the world dictate your mood before you've even brushed your teeth. That's not living, that's reacting. You're a pinball being smacked around by flippers you don't control. The Stoics had this concept called the internal citadel. Think of it like a fortress in your mind. No matter how much chaos is happening outside, the economy crashing, your boss being a jerk, your car breaking down, the inside of that fortress stays calm, locked and loaded. But right now, your fortress has the front door wide open and a welcome mat out for every distraction that wants to wander in. You think you're being productive because you're multitasking. Science calls that a lie. Every time you switch from a task to check a notification, your brain takes a switching cost hit. It's like trying to drive a car while constantly slamming on the brakes and then trying to floor it again. You're burning fuel, grinding the gears and getting nowhere fast. You aren't tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing too many of the wrong things. We've become addicted to the micro-win. The little red dot on an app gives you a tiny hit of dopamine. It feels like you're doing something. But meanwhile, the macro-win, the big dream, the legacy, the real growth, is gathering dust in the corner. You're trading your kingdom for a handful of magic beans that don't even grow. The hardest truth you'll ever hear is this: nobody is coming to save you. No mentor is going to walk through your door with a silver platter. No perfect opportunity is going to fall into your lap while you're lounging on the couch. The cavalry isn't coming because you are the cavalry. If the life you want isn't happening, it's because you haven't grabbed the steering wheel yet. You're still sitting in the passenger seat, complaining about the music and the directions. Epictetus, a guy who started life as a slave and ended it as one of the most respected teachers in history, said something that should be tattooed on the inside of your eyelids. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Read that again. Demand. Not wish for. Not hope for. Not manifest while sitting on a yoga mat. Demand it by your actions. Most people are terrified of the word no. They say yes to every invitation, every favor, and every quick question because they want to be liked. But every time you say yes to something that doesn't move the needle, you are saying a giant, screaming no to your own goals. You are literally murdering your future self's success to avoid 30 seconds of social awkwardness today. If you want to build a life that actually means something, you have to become a professional at saying no. You have to be rude to the things that waste your time. You have to guard your focus like it's the last bottle of water in a desert. Because it is. Once that focus is gone, you can't just go to the store and buy more. We're obsessed with hacks. We want the 5-minute morning routine, the secret supplement, or the one productivity app that will fix everything. But there is no hack for character. There is no shortcut for discipline. You can't biohack your way out of being lazy. The only way out is through. The only way to stop wasting time is to actually look at the clock and realize it's counting down to 0. Think about the people you admire. Do you think they spent their 20s and 30s waiting for a sign? Or did they wake up every day and do the boring, unsexy work that nobody sees? Success is just 1,000 boring days stacked on top of each other. It's the workout you didn't want to do. It's the hour of deep work when you wanted to watch Netflix. It's the choice to stay disciplined when nobody is watching and nobody is clapping for you. You're currently paying for your current lifestyle with the most expensive currency in the universe, your life force. Is the trade worth it? If you're spending 4 hours a day on entertainment, you're spending 25% of your conscious life watching other people live theirs. That's a bad deal. In fact, it's a scam. And you're the one signing the check. We've all got this internal lawyer. You know, the one, the voice in your head that is a world-class expert at making excuses. It's the voice that tells you, you're too tired today, or you'll start fresh on Monday, or you deserve a break because you had a long day. That lawyer is trying to keep you safe, but safe is just another word for stagnant. In the Stoic world, that lawyer is your biggest enemy. It's the part of you that chooses the path of least resistance every single time. But here's the thing about the path of least resistance. It leads to a very crowded place. It's where everyone else is. It's the land of average, and the rent there is paid in regret. If you want a life that looks different from everyone else's, you have to stop doing what everyone else is doing. You have to start leaning into the friction. Think about a diamond. A diamond is just a piece of coal that handled stress exceptionally well. It didn't become a gem by sitting in a comfortable, temperature-controlled room. It became a gem through crushing pressure and intense heat. Your character is exactly the same. You don't build discipline when things are easy. You build it when you're exhausted, when the Wi-Fi is down, when your friends are out partying, and you're still sitting there putting in the reps. Seneca once said that some people are so busy living that they never actually get around to life. Think about that. We spend our lives preparing to live. We say, once I get this promotion, then I'll be happy, or once the kids are out of the house, then I'll travel. We're always living in the if-then trap, but the Stoics would tell you that the if is a gamble, and the then might never come. You've got to stop treating your life like a dress rehearsal. This is the main event. The lights are on, the cameras are rolling, and the audience is watching. And that audience? It's your future self. It's the person you're going to be in 10, 20, 30 years. Are they going to look back at this moment and thank you for the work you put in? Or are they going to be stuck cleaning up the mess you made by being lazy today? Most of us treat our energy like it's a faucet we can just leave running. We leak it into low-stakes drama. We get upset over a comment on social media. We get frustrated because someone cut us off in traffic. We spend 3 hours debating a political topic with someone who isn't even listening. Every time you do that, you are giving away a piece of your soul for free. You are letting people who don't even know you live rent-free in your head. Imagine if you had a physical energy bar hovering over your head like in a video game. Every time you complain, the bar drops. Every time you scroll aimlessly, the bar drops. Every time you worry about something you can't control, the bar drops. By the time you actually sit down to do the work that matters, your bar is flashing red. You're empty. You've spent all your mana on things that literally don't move the needle of your life 1 millimeter. The Stoics practiced something called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds dark, but it's actually a superpower. It's the practice of imagining everything that could go wrong. Not so you can worry about it, but so you can realize that even if the worst happens, you're still okay. When you stop being afraid of the worst-case scenario, you become dangerous. You become the person who can take risks because you realize that losing your money or your status doesn't mean losing your self-worth. We're so scared of failing that we choose the ultimate failure, never trying at all. We stay in the research phase forever. We buy the books, we watch the tutorials, we listen to the podcasts, including this one, but we never actually do the thing. We're learning, right? No. Most of the time, we're just using learning as a sophisticated form of procrastination. True knowledge doesn't come from a book or a screen. It comes from the arena. It comes from getting punched in the face by reality and getting back up. It comes from the messy, imperfect, embarrassing first draft. You've got to be willing to look like a fool today so you can look like a master tomorrow. The clock isn't just ticking, it's screaming. Every second that passes is a second you will never ever get back. You can make more money, you can make more friends, you can even regain your health. But you cannot make more time. Stop acting like you're going to live forever. Start acting like today is the only day you've got, because in reality, it is. Let's talk about the ghost of your future. Imagine, for a second, that you're lying in a hospital bed 80 years from now. You're looking back at your life, and the ghost of the person you could have been is standing right next to you. They have the memories you never made. They have the strength you never built. They have the peace you never found. That person is looking at you, and they aren't angry. They're just sad. They're sad because you had all the tools, all the time, and all the potential, but you traded it all for a few thousand hours of mindless scrolling and comfortable naps. That feeling? That's the only thing you should actually be afraid of. Not failure, not embarrassment, and definitely not cringe. The only thing worth fearing is getting to the end of the line and realizing you stayed in the locker room while the game was being played. The Stoics had a specific name for the stuff that doesn't matter: indifference. Most of the things you're stressed about right now fall into this category. The opinion of your neighbor? Indifferent. Whether your post gets 10 likes or 10,000? Indifferent. The weather? Indifferent. But your character? Your actions? Those are the only things that belong to you. Yet, we spend 90% of our mental energy trying to fix the things we can't control, while the things we can control are rotting from neglect. It's like trying to steer a boat by screaming at the wind. You can yell until your lungs give out, but the wind doesn't care. The wind is going to blow wherever it wants. Your job isn't to control the wind, it's to adjust your sails. But most of us are so busy complaining about the breeze that we've forgotten we even have sails. We've become a soft generation. We've been told that self-care means avoiding anything that feels slightly uncomfortable. We've been told that if something is hard, it's probably not meant to be. But the Stoics would laugh at that. They knew that the obstacle isn't in the way, the obstacle is the way. If you aren't hitting resistance, you aren't growing. You're just coasting. And the only direction you can coast is downhill. Think about your muscles. If you want them to grow, you have to literally tear them down. You have to put them under so much stress that they have no choice but to rebuild themselves stronger. Your mind works the exact same way. If you never push yourself past the point of "I want to quit," your mental muscles will stay weak. You'll be the person who crumbles the second life throws a curveball. And trust me, life will throw curveballs. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We have this weird obsession with being happy. We think happiness is the goal, but happiness is just a fleeting emotion, like the weather. If your goal is to be happy, you're going to be a wreck every time things go wrong. The Stoic goal isn't happiness, it's eudaimonia, which basically means flourishing. It's the feeling of knowing that you are living in alignment with your best self. It's the deep, quiet satisfaction of knowing that even if the world is falling apart, you did what you were supposed to do today. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another top 10 tips list. What you need is to stop lying to yourself. You know exactly what you need to do. You've known for months. You've probably known for years. You're just waiting for it to feel easy before you start. But here's the secret. It never feels easy. The greats don't do the work because they feel like it. They do the work because they made a promise to themselves, and they're the kind of person who keeps their word. Discipline is just self-respect in action. When you tell yourself you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and then you hit the snooze button 4 times, you are telling your subconscious that your word means nothing. You are training yourself to be a liar. And how can you expect to build a great life if you can't even trust the person in the mirror? Every single choice you make is a vote. Every time you pick up the book instead of the remote, you're voting for the person you want to become. Every time you choose the salad over the burger, you're voting for health. Every time you sit down to work when you'd rather sleep, you're voting for success. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to win the election. You just need to make sure that by the end of the day, the best version of you has more votes than the lazy version of you. Let's talk about the trap of tomorrow. We treat future you like some kind of superhero who has more willpower, more energy, and more discipline than you do right now. You tell yourself, I'll start that diet tomorrow, or I'll lead that project next week. You're passing the heavy lifting to a person who doesn't exist yet. But here's the reality check. When tomorrow becomes today, you're still the same person with the same excuses and the same tired brain. If you won't do it now, what makes you think you'll do it then? The Stoics had a concept called hic et nunc, here and now. They understood that the past is a graveyard and the future is a fantasy. The only place where life actually happens is in this exact millisecond. But we spend our lives being time travelers. We're either replaying old embarrassments from 5 years ago or pre-worrying about a meeting that hasn't happened yet. We're everywhere except where our feet are. Think about a professional athlete. When they're in the middle of a game, they aren't thinking about the post-game interview or the mistake they made in the first quarter. They are locked into the present moment. That's the flow state. And you can't get into that state if you're constantly checking your stats or looking at the scoreboard. You get there by focusing on the very next step, just the next rep, just the next sentence, just the next 5 minutes. We've become obsessed with results. We want the six-pack, the $1 million, the perfect relationship. But the Stoics would tell you that the result is actually none of your business. Wait, what? That sounds crazy, right? But think about it. You can do everything right. Train hard, eat clean, and still get hit by a car. You can work 100 hours a week on a business, and the market can still crash. If your happiness is tied to the result, you are a hostage to fortune. The real win isn't the trophy. It's the person you had to become to even be in the running for the trophy. If you lost everything tomorrow, your money, your house, your reputation, who would be left? If the answer is a shell of a person, then you've been building on sand. But if the answer is a person of character, discipline, and resilience, then you haven't lost anything that actually matters. You can build it all back, because the factory is still intact. We're living in an age of performative excellence. We spend more time trying to look like we're winning than actually winning. We take the photo of the healthy meal, the video of the gym, the screenshot of the grind, but the second the camera is off, we collapse back into our old habits. We're living for the applause of people we don't even respect. Imagine if you lived your life like no one was ever going to find out what you did. No social media, no bragging rights, no awards. Would you still do the work? Would you still be a good person? If the answer is no, then you aren't practicing virtue, you're practicing marketing. You're building a brand, not a soul. And a brand can be deleted in a second, but a soul is forever. The Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus said that if you do something honorable with effort, the effort passes but the honor remains. But if you do something dishonorable for pleasure, the pleasure passes but the dishonor remains. Think about that next time you're tempted to take the easy way out. That good feeling you get from skipping the gym or eating the junk food lasts about 10 minutes. But the feeling of being a person who lacks self-control sticks to you like glue. On the flip side, the pain of the cold shower or the difficult work lasts maybe an hour. But the feeling of I did what I said I was going to do stays with you all day. It builds that internal citadel we talked about. It makes you feel like a heavy hitter. And when you feel like a heavy hitter, you start swinging like one. You've got to stop being a consumer of your own life and start being the creator. Most people are just critics. They sit in the stands and point out everyone else's mistakes. They talk about what the government should do, what their boss should do, what their partner should do. But the Stoic doesn't have time for that. The Stoic is too busy looking at the one person they actually have authority over, themselves. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this asking of me? Every challenge is just a specialized training session designed by the universe to fix your weaknesses. Are you going to skip class, or are you going to show up and do the work? Let's talk about your circle of control. If you want to stop wasting your life, you have to stop leaking your power into things that don't belong to you. Most of us are walking around with a million tabs open in our brains. We're stressed about the economy, we're annoyed by a celebrity's opinion, and we're worried about whether people think we're successful. The Stoics called these externals. They are outside the walls of your fortress. When you spend your energy on them, it's like trying to water a plant in your neighbor's yard while your own garden is dying of thirst. You have exactly 0% control over what other people think, say, or do. You have 0% control over the past, but you have 100% control over your own judgment and your own next move. When you finally realize this, it's like a massive weight is lifted off your shoulders. You stop being a victim. A victim is someone who believes their life is the result of what happens to them. A Stoic is someone who knows their life is the result of how they respond to what happens. You can't control the cards you were dealt, but you're the one playing the hand. Stop complaining about the deck and start playing the game. We've become addicted to comfort. We live in the most comfortable era in human history. We have climate-controlled rooms, food delivered to our doors with a tap, and endless entertainment. But comfort is a slow-acting poison. It makes you soft. It makes you fragile. It makes you a person who can't handle a little bit of rain or a slightly difficult conversation. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome. He had every luxury imaginable at his fingertips. He could have spent his life eating grapes and watching gladiators. Instead, he chose to sleep on the ground when he was with his troops. He chose to eat simple food. He practiced voluntary hardship. Why? Because he knew that if you only know how to be happy when things are perfect, You're a slave to your surroundings. You need to start stress testing your life. Take the cold shower. Fast for a day. Do the hardest task on your to-do list first. Not because you have to, but because you want to prove to yourself that you don't need the comfort. You want to show that lawyer in your head that you're the one in charge. When you voluntarily choose the hard path, the path that life chooses for you doesn't seem so scary anymore. We're also terrified of silence. Have you noticed that? We can't even walk from the car to the front door without putting on a podcast or checking our phones. We're afraid to be alone with our own thoughts, because our thoughts are where the truth lives. And the truth is usually telling us that we're capable of so much more than we're currently doing. Silence is where the great work happens. It's where you find the clarity to see which parts of your life are actually yours and which parts you're just doing to fit in. You don't need more information. You're already drowning in information. What you need is more integration. You need time to let the lessons sink in so they actually change your behavior, not just your fun facts library. Stop being a tourist in the world of self-improvement. A tourist visits a place, takes some pictures, buys a souvenir, and then goes back to their normal life. A resident stays there. They build something. They live there every single day. Most people watch videos like this and feel a motivational high for 20 minutes. They feel like they've changed just because they've learned something new. But learning isn't changing. Changing is changing. If you watch this and then go right back to the same habits you had this morning, you've wasted your time. You've just found a more productive sounding way to procrastinate. The Stoics didn't care what you knew. They cared what you did. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. You are currently writing the story of your life. Every hour is a page. Every day is a chapter. If someone else picked up the book of your life right now and started reading from the beginning of this year, would they be inspired? Or would they be bored? Would they see a protagonist who is fighting for their dreams? Or would they see a background character who is just watching the clock? The good news is that you're the author. You can change the plot whenever you want. You don't have to wait for the next chapter. You can change the very next sentence. You can decide, right here and right now, that the drifter era is over. You can decide that from this second forward, you are a person of action. Not a person of maybe, not a person of eventually, a person of now. This is the moment where most people tune out. They've had their fill of inspiration, the dopamine hit is wearing off, and the reality of the work is starting to set in. But you're still here. That means something. It means there's a part of you that is genuinely fed up with your own excuses. It means you're ready to stop being a fan of your potential and start being a practitioner of your power. The final Stoic truth is the most brutal of all. Amor Fati. It means a love of fate. It's not just accepting the things that happen to you, it's loving them. It's looking at every setback, every heartbreak, and every wasted year and saying, thank you. This is exactly what I needed to become who I am today. You can't change the time you've already lost. You can't get back the hours you spent on things that didn't matter, but you can stop the bleeding right now. Think of your life as a business. If a business is losing money, a good CEO doesn't sit around crying about the last quarter. They don't spend all day wishing they had made better investments in 2022. They look at the current balance sheet, they cut the dead weight, and they pivot. Right now, you are the CEO of your own existence. It's time to cut the distraction department. It's time to fire the excuse manager. It's time to double down on the only asset that has ever paid off: your own discipline. The world doesn't need more people who are getting by. It doesn't need more people who are waiting for Friday. The world is starving for people who are fully alive, people who have reclaimed their time and are using it to build something real. Whether that's a business, a family, a body, or just a mind that is finally at peace, the world needs your version 2.0. You have everything you need. You've had it since the day you were born. The ancient truths aren't new information. They are just reminders of what you already know in your gut. You know that shortcuts don't work. You know that comfort is a cage. You know that the clock is ticking. You don't need another sign from the universe. This is the sign. This video ending is the starting gun. When you close this tab, the real world is going to try to suck you back in. Your phone will buzz. Someone will ask for a favor that wastes your time. Your brain will tell you that you've done enough work just by watching this. Resist it. That is the resistance we talked about. That is the friction. That is where the growth happens. Choose one thing, just one, that you've been putting off. Don't think about the whole mountain, just look at the first step. Do it now, not in 10 minutes, not after you check your email. Now. The Stoic life isn't lived in big dramatic speeches. It's lived in the tiny, quiet choices you make when you're all alone and the world isn't watching. You were built for this. You weren't born to just pay bills and die. You were born to see what you're capable of. You were born to be the master of your own soul. So, stand up, take the wheel, and start driving. Your future self is waiting for you at the finish line, and they are hoping you don't let them down. If you found value in this deep dive into the Stoic path, it's a sign that you're ready for the next level. Make sure to like this video to signal to the algorithm that this is the kind of content that actually changes lives. Share it with one person you know is currently drifting. You might be the wake-up call they've been waiting for. And if you're serious about never wasting another second, subscribe to Stoic Origin and join a tribe of people who are obsessed with character over comfort. The journey is long, but you don't have to walk it alone. The clock is reset. The page is blank. What are you going to write?